Wake up, let's run it. Charts up, we love it. Backpack, we done it. GM, good morning, we run it. Sunrise hits like a highlight reel. Coffee poured, yeah, this grind feel real. Wallet looking healthy like a post-gym meal. Crypto fam locked in, no off-day deals. Throwing shade, now we throw confetti. Market bounce back, hand strong, we steady. Dreams too big, so the doubts feel petty. Bull mode hitting, hope you're ready. We ain't stressing, we pressing, blessing the session. Turn every rejection to fuel for progression. Charts look clean, yeah, the vibe is a weapon. We build every day, this is compounding lessons. GM, we rise, we go. Good morning, crypto, steal the show. GM, get hype, let's grow. Another day up, yeah, we glow. Hands to the sky like let's get paid. Chase big goals, not just upgrades. GM bowl energy all day. Smile up, we're built this way. No fear, just flips and vibes. Turning old dreams into real life strides. Hard days hit, we don't divide. Team eats together when the market rides. Tap in early, that sunrise hustle. Bear tried to break us, couldn't touch muscle. Stack small wins, that's compound muscle. Every new block, another flex, no struggle. Climb fast, no breaks, no doubt. Big cheers when the green breaks out. Crypto fam in the chat, full shout. We don't clock in, we break out. Oh, 3 a.m. we rise, we go. Good morning, crypto, steal the show. GM, get hype, let's grow. Every candle's just fuel, let's blow. We don't watch life, we make waves. Another sunrise, another brave day. GM fam, let's go be great. Good morning, crypto, press play. Wake up, smile, send it.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge in financial freedom. Today, I've got several headlines to go over. We're going to be talking about the rise of bankruptcies that we've been seeing filed for corporate entities. Some of the oldest companies in the United States are going bankrupt. We're also seeing a currency crisis over in Iran. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then I want to go over the Fed minute meetings from the last FOMC decision. But before we get to all of that, let's hop on over to that stock heat map, because I got it pulled up in the background, and we are seeing a little bit of movements this morning. Nothing too crazy just yet, but we are seeing just a little bit of downside in some of these stocks this morning. We've got Apple sitting down 0.3%. We've got Nvidia sitting down 0.14. We got Berkshire Hathaway sitting down 0.03%. Was sitting in the green just a few minutes ago. We got Amazon sitting down 0.14. Eli Lilly down. Oh, I guess it's not down anymore. 0% change on that board. It was sitting in the negative just a few minutes ago, though. We got ExxonMobil up 0.23. Tesla sitting to the downside, 0.22% this morning. We've got P&G up 0.03, Microsoft sitting down 0.09. We've got Google sitting down 0.41, and to wrap that on out, we've got Meta sitting down 0.35. Hopping over to the crypto side of things, we've got some very mixed bubbles over here. We got Leo sitting up 4.2%, but for the most part, we've got some decently red projects here. We've got Bitcoin up 8%, Ethereum up 0.1%, BNB sitting up 1.4%. We've got XRP up 0.5%, Solana sitting up 1.4%. We've got Tron down 0.9%, Dogecoin sitting down 1.1%. Give me just a sec. My girlfriend came with the coffee, so this was much needed. We got Cardano sitting down 0.8%. We've got Bitcoin Cash down 0.1%, Chainlink down 0.6%. We've got Leo token, like I said, sitting in the green this morning, up 4%. We've got Stellar Lumens down 2.9%, Hyperliquid with no change on the board, Litecoin with no change on the board. Sui was sitting with no change on the board, sitting up 0.1% now. We've got Avalanche sitting up. Was sitting up, now sitting with no change on the board. So pretty mixed bags this morning. A lot of no change, several red projects, and a few green in there this morning. Over on the fear and greeds, the stock side sitting in neutral, and the crypto side sitting in some extreme fear. We do have some signs on the higher term time frame, but I know Piper went over it yesterday. We're kind of range bound. That's pretty much what I had called for the rest of 2025. I do think we continue to see some range bound into 2026. We'll kind of have to see what happens though once we start getting into that second half of January, because I do think we start to see some movements because we do have quite a bit of liquidity on both sides of us. On this daily time frame, taking a look at this, we've got quite a bit directly above us here. We do have a little bit to the downside to kind of keep your eye on here, but the majority of our liquidity is directly above us at $90,000. It does start at $89,500, so kind of keep your eye on that top side range here. Zooming this on out though, we'll take a look at this 1 week. We've got quite a bit of liquidity towards the downside. So on that daily, we did have a little bit directly towards the downside. That was below our little sideways range there. On this higher term time frame, mostly looking like some downside liquidity though, so we'll kind of have to keep our eyes on that. I would expect a little bit of a grab towards the top side, not taking our high from back here, really clearing out that top side liquidity, and then maybe coming back down towards this bottom side liquidity, starting at $87,000, ranging all the way to about $85,900. So keep your eye on that downside range. We do have quite a bit there. Zoom this on out a little bit further though, you can kind of see where a lot of the liquidity is really residing towards that top side. Like we were saying, we do have that potential for a move later on. I would continue looking at this sideways range for now, but we've got quite a bit of liquidity that is stacked up towards the top side, a little bit above an area I was calling out for a potential breakout if we do get some upside to kind of clear out some of that liquidity. That's starting at 109,000, ranging all the way to 111,000. Kind of keep your eyes on that once we get through 2025, kind of see where this range sends us next. Let's get over to that Bitcoin chart. Say good morning to the people in the chat. We've got Steve Hickey saying, BC, he's back. Good morning. Yes, I took a little time with the family, and then I slept in yesterday. You know, it was a nice 7-hour drive back, and I really failed to get up bright and early. You know, getting that off schedule takes a little bit takes a little time to get back on schedule. So here we are, bright and early all over again. We've got XLM requested from Jack Trades. We can definitely take a look at that one. Good morning to you, sir. Hope you're having a great day so far. We got Curtis Hill in the house. We've got Rug Pulling Rabbit, aka Jay, in here. Good morning to you. We've got Elkis in the house. Good morning, Ella Cass. Sorry about that. Good morning to you. Steve Hickey saying Happy New Year, buddy. Happy early New Year to everyone. I will be going live tomorrow for a New Year stream, so keep your eye out for that one. Traditional markets will be closed, but you know, the crypto markets never sleep. So we'll be going over mostly crypto and some news, and we will see what's going on for tomorrow. But here on this daily chart, like I've said, still looking at this sideways range. We have our top side up at that 93,800. We've talked about that quite a bit. For now, our top side is a little bit lower here. We do have 90,300 coming in. That is that midline of our CME gap. That is from way back, but it is played out several times now. Once we got back down to it, we've seen it come in as support, and then we've seen it come in as resistance. We do have our 4-hour support directly below us at 86,800. We'll kind of have to see if we make our way back down there. For now, daily is looking a little nice on a few metrics, but we still have a little bit of concern here. We do have our money flow still sitting in the red, getting a little bit of some curvature here, and we'll kind of have to see if we can get that to continue with a curve back towards the upside. I wouldn't look at that for today, but after we get this yearly close, really get some of those options closed out, we do have that potential to see some money flow start to switch here. For now, we do have that increase of volume, prime oscillator starting to heat up, switching from red to green, and we've got that MACD run a little bit sideways here. So kind of keep your eye on our current range here with that top side coming in at about 90,300. We did have quite a bit of liquidity here. That's ranging from this CME gap bottom to about 89,600. So kind of keep your eye on that. That is an area that could potentially come in as some resistance if we continue with a little bit of some upside movements this morning. We do have that 4-hour looking a little bit toppy on that prime oscillator, running just a little bit sideways, and that money flow is starting to come out here. We do have a little increase of volume with some buying pressure, so we'll kind of have to keep our eyes on that. If that money flow continues to stay in the red here, looking for another little divergence here from green into some red, and we could see that rejection up at that top side there. So kind of same area we were just talking about, but that money flow is going to be extremely important here. We have been very range bound since about the 19th, and I wouldn't look at that breaking just yet. So keeping our eye on some of this top side might be a nice area to potentially put in a little bit of a short back down to our mid-range here, about 88,100, 88,200 there. Nice little area where we continue to have price action run through consistently. A lot of price action through here, a lot of price action through here as well. So kind of keep our eyes on that area. Let's get this into that 1 hour there. You can kind of see we are starting to get that curvature back towards the upside with that prime oscillator. Same with the MACD, but like we were talking about on that 4 hour there, we do have that red money flow. Money flow just breaking into the red here. Our volume is a little bit in the green here. So like I said, if we can't get that to switch back into some of that buying pressure, looking for that top side to really come in as some resistance there. We have been range bound, and looking for that to change today when those options are expiring would not be the move I would watch for. We do have a little bit of buying pressure this morning, but this is the interesting thing. We've got that slowdown of our volume, and it is switching from some buying pressure to some selling pressure. So this is exactly what we were talking about for those higher term time frames, watching that kind of switch over, watch your increase of money flow kind of bleed over into that higher term time frame, but watch your volume decrease and become some selling pressure. That'll really give you that top side coming in as some resistance there, and you would kind of shoot for that middle area all over again, and then see if we're going to make our way all the way back down. For now, we've got that top side coming in at about 89,600, so trying to hold this bottom side of our CME gap as support at 88,600. We will kind of have to see if we get another stronger bounce off of that in that New York market open. That's kind of what I would watch for with how toppy that 15-minute is starting to look, but you're just starting to pick up a little bit of momentum on that hourly. Do we have any other alt requests or some stock requests for the morning? I did want to go over some silver. I wanted to go over gold as well, so we'll definitely go over those. If we got any other alt requests or stock requests, go ahead and throw those in there now, and we will get to that in just a little bit. Elocast saying it feels like crypto is sleeping. Yeah, it really does, especially with how sideways we've been ranging for most of December. And I kind of called that out. We go through these periods multiple times in crypto cycles before we get strong movements towards the upside, before we get strong movements towards the downside. We go through several weeks of very boring price action, and that's kind of what's leading me to believe that we might get that stronger move. I am looking at a little bit of a clear out of that top side liquidity that I was talking about at the beginning of the show before we really solidify that stronger movement towards the downside. Really looking like some end of cycle movements here. We got ADA on the list. We can take a look at that one as well. That's coming from Momo. Good morning. What do you guys think about ASTS stock future moves? Well, we can take a look at that as well. Let me get that on the stock side. ASTS. We've been looking at that one several times, and we can take a look at that one again. Let's get on over to our news articles for the morning, because we talked about bankruptcies before, and now we've got an article that really ties all of it together. We started talking about that when we saw the really big bankruptcies, and we said that we'd talk about it as the story progressed further, and it's really starting to show a few more signs. Let me get a drink of coffee real quick, and then we'll dive into this article here. So, bankruptcies are exploding across the economy and hitting small businesses and household, and few industries are immune. We kind of talked about this before when we saw Del Monte, one of the oldest companies in the United States, file for Chapter 11. We also talked about it a little bit more when we saw some other companies filing, but here this kind of brings it all together. From billion-dollar giants to mom and pop shops to everyday individuals, bankruptcies are piling up across the United States this year, with large corporate bankruptcies already hitting their highest level in 15 years. The surge of bankruptcies highlights the growing financial pressures facing consumers and companies as costs climb amid a tougher borrowing environment. Rising costs, tighter credit conditions, and ongoing geopolitical volatility continue to exert pressure on households and businesses already facing financial strain. Amy Quackenboss, the executive director at the American Bankruptcy Institute, said earlier this month, unlike past downturns, this wave of bankruptcies appears to be hitting nearly every corner of the economy. It's sweeping across a range of sectors and what was once veteran bankruptcy attorneys describe as a strikingly unusual pattern. A wide cross-section of industries. Typically, corporate failures tend to be industry sticky, meaning they cluster within the same sector. Robert Stock, a partner in a law firm, Brown Rudnick, and chair of its bankruptcy and corporate restructuring practice group, told Business Insider, in 2022, for example, he said there was a big crypto winter, culminating in a string of cryptocurrency firm bankruptcies, including Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX. This was a sticky event. A lot in the industry kind of went through bankruptcy at the same time, Stark said. We have what we have now, which is the thing I find kind of interesting, is I don't see as much stickiness as I'm used to seeing. Bankruptcies seem to kind of be all over the place, added Stark, who represents creditor groups in the 2025 bankruptcies of auto groups companies First Brands and fintech startup LinQ, as well as equity committee in the Chapter 11 case for genetic testing company 23andMe. So a lot of different sectors there are really starting to go bankrupt. We've also got Saunders, Spirit Airlines, Del Monte Foods, and Claire's, and a subsidiary of CVS, Omnicare, all filing for Chapter 11 this year. And all of those are over $1 billion companies. So big bankruptcies really shaking up the market this year. And like it said, it's not just sector specific. You've also got, little talked about, a lot of restaurants are starting to close locations. This really signifies that the bankruptcies aren't just a problem for certain sectors, and it's not just a problem for how the businesses are running, and it's more just the fact of what we've talked about here before, an economic downturn. You're seeing your economy starting to shrink a little heavier, which is why a lot of these restaurants are responding by closing locations, and those companies that don't really have the best means of really getting things out there, like you're not going to see Amazon collapse, but companies that really struggle with those means of getting the goods to their customers the most efficiently are starting to close. So we will keep our eyes on this into 2026 because, like I've said before, I don't think this is done. And we will keep our eyes on that as the jobs numbers really continue to come out, and we continue to see those really show more worrisome signs. We did have this one to go over as well. Iran's currency collapse sparks the second day of trader protests. And getting into this one, Iranian traders and shopkeepers staged a second day of protests Monday after the country's currency plummeted to a new record low against the dollar. Videos on social media showed hundreds taking part in rallies in Saudi Street in downtown Tehran, as well as Shush neighborhood near Tehran's major Grand Bazaar, which played a crucial role in the 1979 Islamic Revolution that ousted the monarchy and brought Islam to power. Kind of keeping my eye on this one because we are seeing a lot of other countries really backing this revolution here. We will kind of have to see how far it gets because they're seeing inflation rates of over 40% right now. And once you start to see some of these things really become a factor where food costs become over 40% of a person's spending, that's when you really see big changes here. And a big tie to that is inflation rates being this high. So we will keep our eyes on that. Might kind of show a shift in some of the oil markets. So that's why I'm bringing this one up. We'll kind of have to see as this goes forward how far this goes and how much of the market really gets shaken up by this. Because I did see another news article, and this is going into day 4 now. So keep your eyes on that one. Big shakeup. They are a big producer in that oil sector, and we will keep our eyes on some of those oil prices there. We got Al Jr. We've got JR in the house. Good morning to you. Normally you come in with Al Jr. I thought I saw his name up there, but it's just King DJ in the house. Good morning to you, sir. we also had this one we wanted to go over. This was the Fed minutes meetings, the Fed meeting minutes. And like we've talked about before, we're continuing to see a split at the Fed. And this one really shows something different than we saw before, because before we saw Fed members decide that they would cut rates, but they didn't really have many reservations about cutting those rates. They were kind of okay with that decision. This time, this was not the case. So some Federal Reserve officials who supported cutting a key interest rate earlier this month could have instead backed keeping the rate unchanged. Minutes released Tuesday show underscoring the division and uncertainty permeating the central bank. At their December 9th through 10th meeting, Fed officials agreed to cut their key interest rate by a quarter point for the third time this year to 3.6%, the lowest in nearly 3 years. Yet, the move was approved by a 9-3 vote, an unusual level of dissent for a committee that typically works by consensus. 2 Fed officials supported keeping the rate unchanged, while one wanted a larger half-point reduction. The minutes underscored the deep split on the 19-member policy committee over what constitutes the biggest threat to the economy: weak hiring or stubbornly elevated inflation. If a sluggish job market is the biggest threat, then the Fed would typically cut rates more. But if still high inflation is the biggest problem, then the Fed would keep rates elevated or even raise them. Just 12 of the 19 members vote on the rate decision, though all participate in discussion. The minutes showed that even some Fed officials who supported the rate cut did so with reservations. Some Fed officials wanted to wait for more economic data before making any further moves. Key economic data on jobs, inflation, and growth were delayed by the 6-week government shutdown, leaving Fed officials with only outdated information at their meeting earlier this month. The minutes don't identify specific officials, but how they vote is public. The 2 policymakers dissented in favor of keeping rate unchanged: Jeffrey Schmidt, the president of the Federal Bank of Kansas, and Austin Goolsbee, the president of the Chicago Fed. The third dissent was from Governor Stephen Moran, who was appointed by Donald Trump in September and favored a half-point cut. When the Fed reduces its key rates, over time it can lower borrowing costs for homes, cars, and credit cards, though the market forces also affect those rates. And this has been the big part of why they're cutting rates. They want to see that lower borrowing costs, but like we've talked about here several times, it has not lowered any borrowing costs, because the borrowing cost is based off of that 10-year yield. Let's get on over to that. And as you can see, this 10-year yield has been remaining pretty steady through all of this year. It did see a little bit of a decrease for a little while here, but for the second half of this entire year, it's remained around that 4.2% to about 4%. Really seeing that bottom come in at 4% and holding quite steady. So rates really unaffected by all of these rate changes here, and we'll kind of have to keep our eyes on this, because those job numbers coming out today, that will give us a little bit of a key into what might be going on for 2026. Let's scroll that up here. Scroll down. There we go. We've got those initial jobless claims coming out today at 8:30. So kind of keep your eyes on that. A little bit of a market mover. This has been a big part of what the Fed has been worried about here, and I don't think that worry changes up anytime soon. But the bigger worry is going to be our inflation numbers. We did see those come out a little bit positive, so a little bit lower than was expected, but with decreased rates and increased borrowing, with that increased borrowing still being a little bit higher, we will kind of have to keep our eyes on that because that could really drive inflation higher. So just a little bit of a wow, phone to PC chart lagging. Oh, I didn't send it, weird. Oh, JR just being a degen in the house. So we do have that risk to inflation as those borrowing rates remain steady and those that Fed rate comes down a little bit. We're really seeing that disparity. Only the banks are really coming out ahead on that, and that doesn't help anyone. So we do see a little bit of risk in those smaller banks, and that is a bigger part of why they're cutting those rates there, because we were seeing a lot of risk in the more local banks, and we do want to keep those afloat. We don't want to see those really collapsing, because once those start collapsing and they can't pay their debts to the larger banks, then that causes bigger collapses. So keep your eyes on some of that. We do have silver seeing a little bit of a pullback, not too unexpected after we got this nice little breakout here. We talked about that consolidated range, got our third test on support there. Let's get this from a dotted line to a solid line now, and we will get rid of that top side dotted line. And as you can see, we've held that support line most of the way. Even on this pullback here, we got that nice little bounce off of our support line. We're starting to see that money flow curving back towards the upside here. We'll kind of have to see if we can get a little continuation into today's open here, or if we're just going to get that nice little curvature at the zero line, really break back down there. So keep your eyes on some of that. We are at a nice support area for a little bit of some continuation. We do have a little bit of resistance directly above us. That's that 1618 at $74. So kind of keep your eyes on that. If we can get back above there, we've got a lot of upside potential. Another thing that really wasn't talked about, Shanghai markets were trading silver at $90. So even though we were seeing a nice upside, the US markets still seeing a little suppression on some silver. So if we continue to see that disparity, we could really see some stronger upside here. So keep your eyes on that. If we can get above $74, that next real area to keep your eye on is going to be $77. So that's that next area that we have some resistance at. For the shorter term time frame and our morning here, you can kind of see we're ranging a little bit sideways. We do have our money flow still in the red here, but we're starting to get a little bit of some divergence on our money flow here. We've got some volume increasing with some buying pressure. Could definitely start to see this get that stronger curve back towards the upside. We'll just have to keep our eyes on that money flow on New York Open. We have been seeing that nice little pullback, cool off some of the shorter term time frames. We could just see that continue with a little bit of some sideways momentum on top of our support line to really cool off some of that mid-time time frame, because we're still seeing a lot of buying pressure here on the daily. You're starting to see that increase of volume as well, and you've got that large disparity between our markets and some other markets. So trading a whole lot higher in some of these other markets, and we'll kind of have to see if we can get that pressure back towards the upside here. Nice little cool off on the shorter term time frame though. We did see pretty much similar movements on gold, a little bit more of a cool off there though. Let's get this zoomed on in. As you can see, we got that dip back into an area we called out before. That was that fair value gap. Closed it on out, really saw that pull back up towards the top side of our fair value gap here, and we'll kind of have to see if we can get a little continuation towards our old all-time high. That was 4,382. We do have that nice uptrend to kind of keep your eye on. As you can see, making those higher lows, still got those higher highs to contend with as well. So really need to break it below about $4,170 to really see a change of trend here. So this is still just a higher low, and we'll kind of have to keep our eyes on that. Daily time frame is getting some nice cool off with this little dip here, and you do have a little bit of some volume starting to come back in here. So kind of keep your eyes on that. We could range a little bit sideways in this area before continuing with some upside movements. We've done this before. Nice little sideways momentum, breakout, nice little sideways momentum, breakout, and here as well. Nice little sideways momentum and breakout. So kind of keep your eyes on that. This is a nice little area to see a little bit of some consolidation before another move towards the upside, especially if in 2026 they're going to be starting some money printing, which gold does keep an accounting of your fiat dollars in the system. And if they're going to add more fiat dollars to the system, that just means you're going to see gold's price go a little bit higher here. So we do have that hourly with our money flow in the red. We're seeing some nice cool off here as well. I would look for a nice little retest on that midline here, as this top side of our fair value gap is coming in as some resistance. Continue to see a little more sell off, and then see a little bounce on that midline. 15-minute looking nice and cooled off here. Let's get this pulled on up. Let's get that pulled on up. You are starting to see that money flow start to slow down on the selling pressure, but you are starting to lose a little bit of some volume. So I would like to see that nice stronger bottom down at about 4,297 for a little bit of a stronger bounce, really test on that midline, and then see if we can break through 4,315. That is our local resistance, and it is the top side of that CME gap there, so, or fair value gap there. So kind of keep your eyes on some of that. This is a nice little area for us to potentially have a sideways range here. Top side coming in at about that old all-time high, $4,382, and our bottom side really coming in at the bottom side of that fair value gap there, about $4,281. Did we have any other alt requests for the day or some stock requests? We got ASTS on the list, we got XLM, and we've got ADA on the list as well. So we can take a look at all of those. Just wanted to see if there's any other stock or alt requests so we can take a look at some more assets this morning. JR asking for cyber. I'm assuming that would be a crypto there. But let me know if it's not. We did have ASTS requested. We did have a CME gap we were keeping our eye on. Finally ended up closing that out. Let's get this colored in with a black background. Yeah, I already know, JR. It is definitely a crypto. So I just know how you are, Mr. King Degen over there, trading all the poopy doopy coins. All right, so we did have this CME gap that we were talking about. We wanted to see us hold the midline if we wanted to continue with some bullish action there. We did not do any of that. We got that nice dip below our 382 here. Really got that nice pump towards the upside. Confirmed this CME gap as some resistance here with that midline rejection before we came back down towards the bottom side and really continued to see some sell pressure. Let's get this zoomed on out to a higher term time frame here, really see what's going on that 4 hour. We still do have a lot of momentum here, and we will kind of have to see if we can continue with some of that on the shorter term time frame. For now, that CME gap was coming in as some resistance. We're just starting to see that break towards the upside on our prime oscillator. We've got a little bit of some money flow coming on in, and our volume's holding quite nicely. So keep your eyes on some of that. We are looking a little bit iffy here on that MACD as you get that roll towards the downside. We are holding our bullish structure for now. We do have a little bit lower we could go to see that support come on in, though, as we have this line pulled from here and here. We got that nice little bouncing action here as well. We could really come a little bit lower and see a little bit of some stronger downside action. We do have an area to kind of keep your eye on first, though. That's going to be our 236. That's coming in at 66.05. That'd be a nice little area to see a bounce at. Potentially would be a little bit of a change of trend, so kind of keep your eyes on some of that if we start getting that low. Your pre-market is trying to open up just a little bit higher than we closed yesterday, so keep your eyes on that as well. We'll kind of have to see if we can get a little continuation into the morning, but for now everything's looking pretty toppy. That 15-minute was looking toppy. You're getting a strong rollover here on the hourly, and your money flows are really coming on out here. You lost a little bit of volume. If we do see that nice little movement towards our resistance all over again and we can't reclaim that, watch for that volume to come on out and see that increase of sell pressure. As you can kind of see that we do have some areas a little bit lower where we could still maintain some of our trend here. That 236 looks interesting, but we'd have to break below about $70 there. It's actually shit coins. Poopy doopy is just the UK censored version. It's also the more fun way to say that. Well, Darren calls them that. A lot of people call them that. Honestly, it's the new way to call it on out. I heard Tradefly say it a long time ago, so that's where I got it from, and I don't know where he got it from, but definitely a crypto term there. A little bit nicer than saying poop coin, or as JR said it in a chat. I like to have fun with it, and a lot of people got some humor out of it. So YouTube lets me swear. Yeah, I can swear too, but I'm pretty sure Piper would prefer me not. So 15-minute could see that little bit of a bounce like we were talking about. We are seeing that pre-market get a little bit of an open towards the upside, but we've got plenty of resistance directly above us. We are starting to see some bottoming action here on the 15-minute. Your volume is starting to show a little bit of some sell pressure, but you've got a little bit of some buying pressure coming on in here. So keep your eyes on some of this. If we do continue to see that resistance coming on in, I would look for that to break back below into some sell pressure, as we're starting to see that sell volume really start to come back in here with that resistance directly above us at about 75, almost $76 there. That's the bottom side of that CME gap, and we've really solidified that as some support, as some resistance. As you can see, we got all of that sell pressure directly above that bottom side. So keep your eyes on some of that. We could get a little bit of a pump in the morning before really continuing with a little bit of some downside action there, trying to hold the top from back here. But if we reject off of that, really solidify that as some resistance on a higher term time frame, you could see that stronger move back towards the downside like we were talking about. We do have a nice area down here to kind of keep your eye on. It's also a CME gap that is open, so that comes in at about $66 to 68.39. So kind of keep your eyes on some of that area down there. Nice little area to potentially see some support at and see if we can get a little bounce from there. Oh, nice New Year's background. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, JR. ChatGPT is really, really awesome with it. So it's actually got the whole 2025 in the background and everything. So it just took my normal setup, and then it made a Christmas one, and then it transitioned from Christmas to New Year's when I asked it to do that. Kept the Christmas tree. I thought that was a nice little touch because most people don't take down their Christmas trees until after New Year's. So a little bit smarter than I thought it was. That was ASTS. We did have two alt requests here, XLM and ADA, to go over this morning. And then, what was that other poopy doopy coin? Cyber. Let's take a look at that one as well. I'm kind of worried at what the chart is going to look like, though. Steve Hickey saying mine's still up. Yeah, ours is still up too. I'm not sure when we'll take it down. I'm not in charge of all of that. I just do the work when I'm told to. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see when the lady wants to take it on down. We had XLM and ADA and Cyber requested. So this is Zcash. Zcash doing quite nice. Nice little movement back towards the golden pocket area. Also, that pretty much our strong resistance. So we'll see what happens with that one. But for now, let's take a look at some ADA. Dang. We were talking about some levels for ADA way down there, and it didn't get quite that low. But looking like we might get a retest of those areas. I shorted last night for my Asia stream. Hey, solid move there. I pushed the space bar. We didn't want to go to Tron. We want ADA. I woke up at like 1 o'clock this morning, and I caught a little bit of a long in that London session before we really started to see a little bit of sideways momentum. And I was like, you know what? I want to go back to bed. So I closed my long, and I'm kind of kicking myself for it because, not so continuation. But I was like, you know what? I'm too sleepy for this. So should have kept it open. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Oh, well. But could definitely catch the short in some New York. So let's get this pulled up on the 4-hour because we were talking about some lower levels for some ADA. Let's see. Is JR going to go live after this? Let's see. Does he already have his stream set up? Let's see. Redirect. Let's see if JR's got a stream set up. He does not. JR, get your poop in a group. Set your stream up so I can set up the redirect. I don't know how. Sir, alright, well, hit me up tomorrow because I'm off, and we will help you get your poop in a group, sir. So, we are seeing a little bit of some signs here on the 4-hour, a little bit of sideways momentum coming on in, but like we've said before for some ADA, we've got some lower levels to kind of keep your eye on. That's 33 cents. This is kind of not the levels you want to see when everyone's talking about, yeah, bullish 2026, and ADA sitting at bear market range of that mid-range here. As you can see, we got most of our price action around that 33 cent area. That is that midline that we got most of our price action at. That's pretty much where we're sitting right now, and that does not say bullish to me. But we'll kind of have to see if we can get a little bit of a bounce off that because we are getting some curvature here on a 4-hour. We're seeing a little bit of sideways momentum coming on in. We've got that MACD coming in with some curvature. Prime oscillator also getting a little bit of curvature. Your volume is in some sell volume here, but we could very quickly see that switch into some 2026 price action and see if we can get through about 36 cents to try to make our way back up to 41. So those are those areas I'd kind of keep my eye on. If we can get some curvature on those with some money flow coming on in, because we're seeing that prime oscillator switch from heavy red to some light red here, we're just lacking some money flow. Your volume is still that sell volume. You need some buy pressure to start stepping on in. You do have your strong resistance for now at about 38 cents. We'll kind of have to see if we can get through this 35, nope, basically 36 to about 36.5 cent range to really continue towards that 38 cents area. You're seeing a little bit of some curvature here on the hourly as well. You've got several reversal signals that have flashed, really waiting for some money flow here as well. Your buy volume comes on in and then it immediately comes back out, so we'll kind of have to keep our eyes on that to see if we can get a little continuation there. For now, in the morning, we do have some resistance at about 35.5 cents. So that is our area to get above first to see if we can get that continuation to our resistance area of about 36 cents to about 36.5 cents. We're nice and cooled off here on the hourly. We're just lacking that money flow. 15-minute in the morning, really seeing that nice consolidation. If we're going to continue with our weird action on Bitcoin, could really see this continue here. Might get a little bit of a deviation towards the top side. If we grab that top side liquidity on Bitcoin, that'd be about 36 cents to really see that stronger resistance come on in. So short-term time frame looking but that higher term time frame is starting to look a little bit nice. So if we could start to get a little bit of some money flow that really holds steady here for ADA, might be nice for a little bit of a swing trade position, especially if we can see some money printing and a little bit of some money coming back into that crypto market. So keep your eyes on that. I would like to see us really turn some of this area back into some support for a more of a swing trade position back towards that 41 cent range to about 45 cent range. So ADA does look nice on that higher term time frame. I will give it that, but for the short term time frame, still looking a little iffy there. Let's go to one of my favorite alts here, XLM. Nice little retest of our platinum pocket area. We've been talking about 22.5 cents being our resistance area. We got a little bit of a break above it before we really started to see that strong sell pressure coming on in and that break towards our platinum pocket. This has been a nice area for us to really see some consolidation at. We do have some worrisome levels directly towards the downside, about 19 cents there, but you're starting to see a lot of bottoming action here. So getting a little bit of curvature on that prime oscillator. Same thing with ADA. You do have a lot of sell pressure there. So a lot to contend with on the higher term time frame. We are pretty close to some strong support levels. Platinum pocket has been holding for now. If we do end up breaking that, it doesn't look pretty. You've got about 19.5 cents being that first area to kind of keep your eye on, and then you've got bear market highs. So, like I said, for a lot of the alts before, just not looking good for them. Solid retracement all the way towards our platinum pocket. We will kind of have to see if we come a little bit lower and really clear out. Alt Z. Let's lock that. And there we go. We'll have to see if we come a little bit lower, really clear out some of the liquidity that would be directly below our platinum pocket here, and then see if we can make our way back towards the top side. Daily looking a little bit iffy, getting that rollover from green to red. You're still sitting below your zero line as well. Your 4 hour was starting to show a little bit of hopium. starting to see that bottom action. We'll have to see if that hourly can start to see some of that bleeding on over into our 4 hour here, as you're really struggling with the platinum pocket. Another little bounce here, but we do have that local resistance directly above us at about 20 cents there. That's where we saw our stronger rejection. We'll kind of have to see if we can get above that to see a little bit of continuation up towards about 21 cents there. So short-term time frame looking a little bit iffy, kind of the same as Bitcoin, looking a little bit iffy. You got that 15-minute and the morning really consolidated here on both that prime oscillator and your MACD. Price action has been continuing with that downtrend though, so don't fade it just yet. Really need to see some money flow start coming back in. As you can see, kind of the same thing with ADA. Comes on in, comes on out, comes on in, comes on out, comes on in, comes on out. So for now, I would look for this platinum pocket to hold, see if we can get above 20 cents there to try to make that move back up towards about 21 cents or 21.2. So those are those levels towards the upside I'd kind of keep my eye on. Let's get a horizontal ray drawn for our top side levels to see price get that stronger rejection at, so you can see that just a little bit clearer. So 21 1 and then 21 1 2. So those are those two levels towards the upside for a potential take profit on a shorter term time frame long. So let's get on over to Cyber, the last request of the day. See what's going on with King Degen's project over there. Cyber US dollar looks like it's on Kraken and Binance. Let's see what's going on with Kraken. What is this chart, sir? What in the heck? Just, oh my goodness. JR, what are you having me look at, sir? Breaking the lows. Let's see if something else has some more history there. Cyber. Let's see if Binance has more history. Oh, a lot more history and a much worse downtrend. Oof. Well, we will kind of have to see where this goes next. Let's get a fib extension pulled on up to the downside. From our highs to our lows to our highs, trying to hold our one line there. That next real area is in the negative, so we'll have to get a shorter term time frame pulled on up here, see what's going on. Let's get this pulled on up to an hourly view, see where that trend might take us. We've got our highs to our lows to our highs over here. So let's go high to low to high. Holding the 50% line. That's a nice little move there. Seeing that 236 coming as some resistance. Let's get this locked up so we're not moving anything around. We'll kind of have to see if we can get that rejection towards the downside, because for now it's looking like 94 cents is going to be our strong resistance. You can see all of those rejections off of that. It's not my project, it's a poop coin. Oh well, nice catch. This is the project you requested. So, sir, this is your project. You might not have made the project, but this is your project because you asked for it. So, MACD looking pretty nice. Got a little bit of some potential for some continuation if you can continue to see some money flow coming on in. So it is curving back towards the upside here, as you can see. Really seeing that strong cool off after a nice little pump there. We do have a big fair value gap there. Probably a little bit of a test on the midline. We'll kind of have to see what happens with that one. So from there to there, pretty close to a midline test on that CME gap there. So, or fair value gap there. Potential for a little continuation towards the top side. Would really need to break above our resistance, 89 cents, to try to make our way back to $1.03. Hourly is looking a little nice. We do have that 15-minute and the morning also showing some nice signs here. We've got a little money flow coming on in. You do have a little sell volume though, so kind of keep your eye on that. Could very easily see that price reject off of that 90-cent price point again before we really see that nice stronger bounce off of our 382 there, coming in at 82 for that push towards $1.03. Looking a little overheated for now on that prime oscillator. We'll just have to see if we can get a little continuation. If we can't hold any of these levels, looking back down to about 72 cents would be an area I'd kind of keep my eye on. 72 to about 74 cents. So keep your eyes on some of that. We do have a lot of potential for some downside as things are looking a little overheated on the shorter term time frame, but some of those mid-term time frames are starting to look a little bit nice. We just need some money flow to start coming on in, which is something we've been talking about for a while as we've continued with our sideways range pretty much across the board all of December. So I wouldn't look at that break-in, but some of these projects might get some stronger moves towards the upside, like cyber, once we get some little movements towards the upside. So that's what I got for today. Keep your eyes on the rest of the shows here on the Piper Academy. We've got that morning market report at 10 a.m. Eastern. 10 a.m. Eastern time. That's with Army Piper and OC Guy. That's every morning, 10 a.m. That's the place to be for your macro data. We've also got Trading with OC at 7 p.m. That is the place to be if you like to make money, you like to trade, and you like to put on a tinfoil hat. But until next time, I will see y'all in the chats. Make sure to wake up because today's going to be a good day.
Wake up, charts glowing like a sunrise dream. Coffee in my cup, got the tickers on the screen. Wallet looking heavy, but my heart stay light. Stacking sets, not stress, yeah, we'll be alright. Late nights in the bear zone, learn to fight alone. Now the green candles burning through the monochrome. Every dip's a lesson, every loss a line. We're writing our story one block at a time. Well, good morning, crypto, the world's still spinning slow. But our coins keep climbing where the fiat won't go. Another day, another chance to grow. So plug in the stream, let the markets flow. Screens flash red, but I don't lose faith. Pain breeds patience, that's the trader's grace. From the bottom to the top, we just play our role. Turn volatility into solid gold. We've been broke, we've been bold, chasing dreams that can't be sold. Every block, every code, it's the anthem of the new age road. Good morning, crypto, yeah, it's time to go. Stack your dreams, let the future show. We ride the waves through the highs and lows. Good morning, crypto, let the whole world know. Wake up, log in and light that spark.